What's up, guys? Today we got a bit of a different one here for you. It's probably gonna be pretty short, but I just wanted to. I didn't really have anything to talk about Minisode wise because I want to hold off on zombies for another week. Don't want to talk about Die Rise quite yet, but we're gonna talk about the state of open queue Overwatch. I know everybody plays role queue in Overwatch, and that's fine. I play it mostly too. However, I just like to play open queue for when you just want to, fill in and just play whatever. But the current problem this game type is facing is the tanks, man. It feels like you have to run like 3 or 4 tanks anyways. I'm talking specifically about open queue competitive or ranked rather, and in open queue and quick play, it's whatever. I feel like you get a lot of DPS players that play that, which is fine. But I just wish open queue ranked, it just wasn't so based around having all those tanks, I feel like if you don't have at least 3 tanks, 2 supports, or even 4 tanks and a Moira, you're just trolling, right? It's just so powerful. It's so oppressive. Obviously, tanks have better kits than DPS by design because they're balanced around having the one tank and role queue, right? So when you put 3 of them on or 4 of them on one team, it's really oppressive, man. And then when you have both teams running it, it's just like a clusterfuck of whoever can out heal the other tank's better. I don't know, man. It's just they need to really do something. I'm here to offer some suggestions, or not really offer suggestions, but just kind of voice some awareness towards this issue, I guess, because I really hope they do something. I know open queue isn't the main focus of the balance of the game or anything, but I believe they could improve the experience. They did the health changes for open queue. I don't even know, during one of the early seasons, right? What they did was they cut like 200 HP off every tank hero, or 300 HP even off every tank hero to make them squishier. However, they're still strong. Tanks ultimately have the best abilities and alts in the game besides supports, right? So there's really no reason to ever pick DPS in open queue. I mean, yes, the passive is good. The DPS passive is really, really good. But the thing is I don't think it's better than having another tank on the field, if that makes sense. Unless it's like Bastion. Overwatch it all depends on what you're running and what the enemy team's running, obviously. But, you could definitely, like, there's times where you could shoehorn a Bastion into a comp. Like if it's a Reinhardt, Winston, something that Bastion can just melt pretty easily, then it's worth it. But I mean, if out of the whole DPS roster, Bastion is the only viable one sometimes, then we have an issue, you know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, we as a community need to try to help mitigate this issue, I think. I do think hero bans could play a certain role in this, although I'm not going to talk about that now. That would be an interesting minisode to talk about later. Or should I talk about it now? Maybe hero bans. I might throw that in at the end, but yeah. As far as I'm concerned right now, I'm mainly just focused on talking about the issue with open queue in general, right? Because if you don't know, if you're a new Overwatch 2 player, this is how Overwatch 1 launched. It never had role queue in the beginning. It never had a role lock. You were never confined to like a 2-2-2 composition or a 1 tank, 2 DPS, 2 support composition like you are now. You were always able to just queue into any single game. Quick play was just quick play. Competitive was just competitive. And you would just load in, lock in a comp, and then that's that. You had to be flexible as a player if you wanted to climb to fill certain roles or fill certain heroes. But, it was awful. Role queue, people say it killed the game, and there's an argument for it to be made there. But it also saved the game too, right? Because as a support main, you don't know how many times I would load into a game and have like 5 DPS players and then I'm support. And it's just like, it just felt so bad because, you couldn't really have a balanced, fair game sometimes just because, you have those stubborn DPS mains that refuse to switch. Now we kind of get the same thing here, but except when your stubborn DPS player locks in competitive open queue, they lock in a DPS hero. They refuse to switch, right? To like a tank. and then you just end up getting screwed over, which the game shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be if you don't pick tanks, you just lose. You know what I mean? So that's what we're just kind of here to talk about. I guess the intro was kind of long, but I just kind of rambled on there. Yeah, I don't want this one to be too long. I'm looking for like maybe a 15, 20-minute video here. Not going to go too crazy on this topic just because I know it's such a niche small audience I'm probably speaking to right now that actually plays OpenQ. I just wish the experience was better, you know? So we're going to offer some maybe advice to anybody that's listening to try to, I don't know, we're going to try to formulate some ideas to, you know, just try to make the experience better, you know? So let's get into that. Let's do it. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking for my first idea, right? Make it so you load into OpenQ and you're picking your heroes, right? Make it so if two people choose tank, then the role gets grayed out and nobody else can choose tank. And then the only way you could swap to tank is if one of the tanks swapped off the role. That way, you know, you're not just so tank heavy in this game mode, and then you can swap with your teammates if you don't want to play the role anymore. Granted, I know this is only a band-aid fix to the problem, because then you'd have like 3 DPS comps, 3 support comps. But honestly, I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion or not, but I would rather play into 3 DPS mains, or 3 DPS on a team, or 3 supports on a team, or than 3 tanks, rather, I guess. Or, you know what, just make that apply to every role. Make it so you can't lock in 3 of the same role. I feel like that's not too complicated to implement, right? I mean, I don't know too much about coding or anything like that when it comes to gaming or programming or anything like that, but it can't be too hard to make it so you can't lock in a 3rd role in OpenQ, right? Like, I get it. That's the whole point of OpenQ, is to be able to, you know, make a comp with no limits and no boundaries. But let's be honest, guys, like 3 of the same role is just not that fun to play against. Or 4, rather. 4 tanks is just not that fun to play against. 3 tanks is just not that fun to play against. 3 supports, not that fun to, like, all the roles, rather. I just think it's most unfun for tank because of how oppressive the characters are when they work together, right? Like, I know this is a whole topic for a different video, but like the whole 5v5, 6v6 argument, like the way tanks are designed now, they would be so oppressive if you put them together. And I know, I get it, balance them around 6v6, you can nerf them or whatever, but that's not the argument I'm trying to have here. Basically, that's all I'm trying to say, man, is just maybe soft lock each role so you can't lock in a 3rd player on that role. And I feel like the experience would be a lot better. Like, I'm thinking like, 2 tanks, like 1 DPS, 2 support. That sounds like a pretty fun comp. You know, you get the Ryan Zarya back. You get like, you know, Orisa Hog, all these crazy comps you can work with tanks together, without having that 3rd tank to just push it over the edge. And then we can, you know, test run tank duos and shit, just like the old days, man. I feel like it could really be fun. I know that the idea of soft locking the role isn't the best. I know it has its issues. It's going to have its issues. You know, it needs some workarounds. But I think it's a good place to start, man. Or at least we can implement it and just see how it goes and then revert it. You know what I mean? So that's just one of my suggestions for this role. I really don't know what else to do with OpenQ comp. You know what I mean? Because if you queue into a role, then you're just playing role queue. So they have to make it so you can instantly, you know, queue in. The queue times are pretty good because everybody's queuing for OpenQ. You know what I mean? You're not queuing for a certain role. So, yeah, just soft locking the roles could work, man. It could work. So I don't know. Maybe it's something they try. Maybe I'm just being retarded here, but who knows? It's worth a shot, I think. Another suggestion I have is just hero bans in general. I know this is a very controversial topic within our community of Overwatch, but other games do it well. I really think a hero ban system could be very good for this game. I know it doesn't solve the problem of multiple tanks. However, you can just, you know, ban the most oppressive ones. And then maybe people don't know how to play the ones that aren't the most oppressive, and it could work, man. I just think, OpenQ aside, speaking for the entire game here, I really think hero bans could be very, very healthy for the game. Uh, you know, the most oppressive characters get banned or the most problematic characters get banned. And then the devs kind of know, they see firsthand from the community, they can get data on which heroes are banned the most. So they find out very quickly what people just don't enjoy playing against or what problem heroes are. You know what I mean? So as far as that applies to open queue, I think it could work, man. Um, it's probably a band-aid fix, but why not leave it into the agency of the players? Why not give us a tool to so we can take it in our hands? I think there's enough heroes in the game now to where like one ban per team could really be something cool. I think you could ban certain heroes on good maps if your team wants to. You know, if you're a one trick player on a certain hero and it gets banned, like, sorry, dude, try to learn another hero. But yeah, I'm gonna try to stay on the topic of open queue here. So I really feel like hero bans could work here. One hero ban per team. That way, if two of the same role happens to get banned, then there's still a lot of options, right? Or maybe make it so only one role can get banned at a time. So you have to ban like one tank, one support, one tank, one DPS, one support, one DPS, something along those lines. But I really feel like it could work, man. You never know with this stuff until you try. So I really hope they try hero bans in the future. I really think it could be good for our game. It would just be cool to, uh, you know, queues aside, game types aside, it would just be cool to not play against Genji or Tracer literally every single game of Eternity when I played Role Queue, or to not play against Malga or Roadhog for every single open queue game I play for Eternity. I don't know. It would just be a nice change of pace. It would be a nice welcome change of pace that, I hope they explore in the future. Like I said, it doesn't have to be implemented too, right? Just try it out, see what people like about it, and just go on from there. But you never know until you try, right? Just like Michael Scott said once, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take by Wayne Gretzky. If you know, you know. Shout out to anyone who gets that reference. But anyways, moving on. Okay, another suggestion. I guess we can nerf the tanks even more, Maybe make it so each tank you lock in has an even bigger, like, reduced health pool. Say you lock in one tank and it's like the normal HP for roll queue. You lock in two tanks, it's less HP. You lock in three tanks, it's even less HP. You lock in four tanks, it's like squishy's worth of HP, like 250 HP per tank. I really feel like maybe this could solve the problem because, then there wouldn't be such a large incentive to pick that many tanks. Or if you want to go with that comp, say, because, the beauty of open queue is being able to, make any team comp work, really. And that's what's special and that's what's cool about it. But, maybe make it so the more oppressive tank comp you want to go, the bigger or the smaller your health pool is to get punished for it, Uh, Obviously, just make tanks less oppressive in that way. Make it so you can't really all in with four tanks and, run the enemy team over because they won't have any health to do it with. Or just buff DPS. Maybe make the DPS passive even better in role queue or in open queue. I don't know. Maybe give DPS something else in open queue. Maybe give DPS I don't know, more to their passive, like I said. Maybe make it so it's like 50%. I don't even know. I'm just throwing shit out here, guys. Like, I don't even know what to do at this point. I just play the game and enjoy it, you know what I mean? I don't really know what to suggest to fix this issue. So if you're hearing this, leave something in the comments. Let me know. We can talk about it. But yeah, I really want to see this issue with tanks go away. I would love to see, like, my ideal open queue world is like two tanks, two supports, one DPS, or maybe two tanks, two DPS, one support. It all depends. It could really be something cool, man. But I really just feel like this game mode is suffering right now because of the fact that you have to lock in 3 or 4 tanks a game. I just don't like it that much, man. I don't know. Like, this, like, I don't know if you guys remember way back in Overwatch 1, the Slambulance comp. Like, there was there was a time in Overwatch 1 where there was a meta with 4 tanks and Moira, and it was cool for its time, but it's just like the GOATS meta where it's just like, okay, it's lasting way too long. We need to move on to something else here. I completely understand why people don't play open queue. If you could make multiple tanks work and multiple DPS work in open queue, I could see a lot of the streamers playing it, a lot of content creators playing it. But the reality is open queue just has a very small niche audience, competitive open queue anyways. I don't know how big the player base is within like quick play open queue. My brother likes to play open queue. He's a fairly new Overwatch player. Just because you don't have the pressure of being confined to one role, you know what I mean? So it's just nice to be able to click an open queue, just kind of play any character you want, bullshit around on any character. But it just sucks that when it comes to competitive open queue, you really just confined to those tanks. And if you're not picking multiple tanks, you're kind of just throwing the game away. Obviously, I keep saying it. I'm sorry if I keep saying it. I'm sure it's getting old. But I just hope somebody's hearing this at Blizzard or in the Overwatch team or anyone in general just hears this and passes it on. I just want the experience to be better, and if that's what complaining is, I guess that's what it is. I just want my experience playing the game to be a little more fun, and I don't think that's a huge issue. Say what you will, or disagree with me, that'd be fine. Just let me know what constructive criticism you guys have. Or let me know what suggestions you guys have to make OpenQ a better experience, I would very much be open to hearing it. I guess I really just don't know what, I'm not a game dev. I don't know what the fuck to do here, boys. I'm just reporting it, Think of me like a reporter, man. I'm just kind of reporting on shit, calling it out as I see it. That's all I'm really trying to do here. I'm just trying to improve the experience, man. And if you happen to like these tank heavy compositions, good for you, man, and enjoy it while you can. However, I really think the game would be better if it's soft locked 3 tanks. You should not be able to lock in 3 or 4 tanks. 2 is fine. 2 is fine, guys. Nothing's wrong with tank duos. But just 3 and 4, like, come on, it's a little too much. It's a little too much. A little too bit of HP to shoot through. Even when you lock in Zenyatta. I try to lock in Zen in these situations because the Discord is good on the big bodies, but unfortunately Zarya exists and she just cleanses it, or Kiriko just cleanses it, and then just what ends up happening is you're just getting out healed, man. So you really just have to lock in like Baptiste, Kiriko, Moira, that kind of thing, and just kind of just pop off with the heals. It's just whoever heals harder, whoever supports heal harder, pretty much wins, and it's just annoying. Sometimes it actually is tank diff too, and sometimes the tanks outplay each other, but it's just a huge clump of just fuck all, it's I don't know. I just think it could be way more engaging if there was 2 tanks instead of 3 or 4, I know I keep repeating it. I know I keep going over it again and again, but that's just what I do, man. That's what I'm all about here, okay? So you can either deal with it and click off the video or stay here and cry to me, I guess. I don't know. So, yeah, that's really all I have to say. I'm not going to go too long. Like I said, I didn't want this video to be too long, or this podcast to be too long. Just thought I'd offer a couple suggestions for OpenQ Overwatch. There's some of us who actually enjoy playing it, I like to just grind a top 500 in it and then just play role queue for the rest of the season. But, this season, it's just weighing on me, man. It's just like, okay, we're really doing this shit again for like the 9th season, 10th season in a row now. I appreciate the HP nerfs they did like a while ago to tanks and open queue, but I think a little more needs to be done. A little more needs to be done because think about it, it's not just open queue, it's also all of arcade. That applies on the same kind of thing because most of arcade is not roll queue, it's open queue. You just pick pick multiple tanks, and the HP is not what it is in roll queue. So this would affect more than just open queue. It would affect arcade as well. So I really think they could look. I think they could after canceling PvE and all that shit, they said they want to focus on the actual live service game they have out now. So yeah, I really think they can afford to make a pass at open queue and arcade tanks again. I think they could really put some more effort there, put some more time into it, put a little more resources into bettering that part of the game overall. Um, I know it's a tough job though. I really how do you balance multiple tanks? It's just unfortunate. How do you balance multiple tanks while also giving you the creative freedom to lock in any comp you want? It's a tough fucking job, man. And as I say that now, I'm kind of realizing that. But I think it's worth the resources. It's definitely worth the time to look into because if you better this experience for people are going to come back and keep playing. There's a lot of people that don't play role queue just because they don't like being confined to the one role, and that's why open queue and arcade is good for them. It's not everybody likes the role queue grind. I do personally. I love 5v5 format, but it's not for everybody. And I think nothing's wrong with trying to just better that experience. So not going to go on too long. That's probably it. So yeah, we'll close it out right now, guys. Just to let you know really quickly what to look out for next week. I'm going to be playing Mario Kart 64 on my Nintendo 64 all week this week. I'm going to try to beat the game on 150cc, so we'll see how that goes, and then we'll talk about that next weekend. And then also next weekend, I wanted to wait a couple weeks between my zombies videos now, so we're going to probably do Die Rise next weekend too. We're going to try to stick to this one episode, one minisode formula. However, there might be multiple minisodes or maybe on very rare occasions, multiple episodes, but don't look forward to that. I doubt that's going to happen. But yeah, I'm going to try to stick to one episode, one minisode formula with these, and then just go from there. I'm trying to play stuff where I can talk about it that's quick and easy, as to better prepare myself for speaking and, just talking in general. I want to get better at this content shit, want to get better at the podcast, want to be able to speak more clearly. So I'm just trying to get episodes out, listen to them back, and just see how that goes for me. So yeah, thanks guys for listening. If you are, leave a suggestion in the comment. I'd love to read it. Let me know what you want to hear in the comments if you're hearing this. Appreciate it, guys. So yeah, we'll sign off. Expect Die Rise next weekend. Expect Mario Kart maybe next weekend if I don't end up rage quitting it. So thanks again for listening, guys. Take care. Goodbye.